Derick Giwner back with Matt Rose for another edition of a Harness Spotlight, and this time we're going to look at Trois Rivieres for Sunday, September the 27th. They have the Quebec Cup Finals, and we're going to take a look at a couple of those finals. There are 8 finals on the card, 4 for 2-year-olds, 4 for 3-year-olds, worth $55,000 and $65,000. We're going to have free PPs up on DRF bets, well, on DRF's website. I'm sure you can get them on DRF bets as well. We're going to take a look at race number 6 first. It is the 3-year-old Colt Trot Final. It's worth $65,000, I believe. Well, it says 55. We're going to go with 55 on the board. And I'm going to look at a horse named Babu. I don't know. I can't even say this horse's name. How do you say this horse's name, Matt?
Babidiboo. How about that? Babidiboo.
I love the name of the horse. I love the name, but that's not why I picked the horse. There's some interesting reasons here. When you look at this field, I think that there's quite a bit of early speed in this race. You know, quite a few horses that can go. This horse happens to be one of them, but this horse Babidiboo also happens to be versatile. So in addition to speed that could possibly set him up, you know, there's also plenty of horses in this field that show breaks in their line. You know, the 1A in here, Tucson Titan, who starts from post position number 3, is one of them that has broken before. The 3 horse who starts from post 4, Genetic Taurus, also coming off a break. The 4, Frito PV, coming off a break. So there's a lot of uncertainty here, and I think that could allow Babidiboo to come away closer to the front than maybe he would without having to work so hard, and give him a big shot to win. Plus, I think we'll get a decent price here because I think all the money is going to go on to number 2, Keno Gami Coco. And they're really testing us with these names since we don't speak French.
I took French in high school. Didn't really help me much. Listen, you were talking about trotters and breaking stride. Listen, these are relatively young and green trotters, even though they are 3-year-olds, but they don't have a ton of starts last year. And then this year, obviously, with all the stuff that's been going on worldwide. But listen, they're trotters on a small track with tighter turns. It goes without saying that there's going to be horses that potentially misbehave. They may be strung out early, and yes, that may work to the advantage of Babidiboo, assuming that Stefan Gendron, one of the leading drivers up there, has his nose on gate and will be firing early. But listen, this is a lot of money on the line, considering that the preliminaries don't go for as much money as in other states or provinces. Going for $65,000, these guys are going to be going all out. And sometimes, again, when you go all out, you ask a horse to move or be pressed harder. Strange, chaos may ensue. You mentioned the 2-horse, Kanagami Coco. I'm going to go with that. Probably taking all the money. He's going to take my money as well. He gets post position 1. I have to assume he's going to be pushing off from the gate. Let him get around that first turn, and I think it's all gravy from there, to be honest with you. Coming back from the big track at Woodbine Mohawk Park, where he won 2 in a row. But you go a few lines back down, and he shows a nice win in a preliminary event at Hippodrome 3R. You go back to that race where he showed speed, fought off pressure, was an easy winner. Go back to that race, considered with the fact that he draws inside, he may stack all these up or line all these up early behind him, and then I think it's game over at a short price.
Yeah, listen, it's certainly possible. I just thought there was a chance to beat the favorite here. Another interesting horse could be the 4, Frito PV, who's getting from Woodbine Mohawk Park or taking the trip over here, and one of them is Sylvain Filion.
You know what? You have Louis-Philippe Roy coming back to his old stomping grounds. You have Sylvain Filion. You know what? A lot of people are more familiar with those names than other names. They're going to take a bunch of money just based on recognition, I think. They're going to take some money. I have the 4, as I see you do, on my ticket as well. Another speedy type coming off a break, but you toss out that line and you see a bunch of solid speed tries. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes he got nipped, but he's been right there in every start, except for when he was on the 5/8 track and he broke before the start. still recovered okay. Will he be overbet because Sylvain Filion is driving? Probably, but he does deserve to be on the tickets. But I am going to pretty much, for the most part, chalk it up. Use your top pick underneath Kanagami Coco and use Frito PV, slightly easier to pronounce as well. Maybe a couple of cold exactas and a cold trikey.
Yeah, I'll probably look at exactas with Baba Dabu over Kenogami Coco and Frito PV, and we're going to move on to race number 10, which is the 3-year-old filly Pace this time. And we have a full field of 8 for this one. $65,000 is going to be on the line. And you know what? I looked at this race. There's probably 3 or 4 major contenders in this field. And the one I went with was Asayana de Charica. I think I got that name somewhat remotely close to correct. I think there's a huge advantage for this filly in that she drew out inside of the 6 Strikazana and the 8 Zar-E IP. And the fact that she drew inside of them gives her more options. And I think the driver's going right to the front here and could potentially control the race, but more likely might end up sitting the pocket to the 8-horse.
You have plenty of experience as a race announcer, don't you? But can you do it in 2 languages? I'd pay good money to hear you call this race. Listen, I kind of agree with you that the more prime contenders are on the outside half of the starting gate, namely Asayana de Charica, Strikazana, and Zar-E IP or IP. I'm looking. I just think that I know he's got the outside. I know that's a severe handicap, but Zar-E certainly looks, I think, just slightly more talented than these. He's got a ton of speed. He's going to be firing out from the gate. There's no doubt about that. And will he clear the lead? Possibly, but if they go fast early on with a bunch of speed types, will much like the trotters in the prior race we spoke about, will they be strung out a bit in the early going? Yeah, I think so, and I think there will be holes there. And I think this horse is talented to have to go 2 moves if need be, and get the job done. And I think the price will be okay, just considering the outside handicap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and the 6-horse Strikazana is picking up another one of those driver changes we talked about. Louis-Philippe Roy is going to drive this one, right, and be interested to see if he moves this filly up.
I think it's quite possible, but he's also going to move. He's also going to trend the horse downwards in the odds wagering because, like I mentioned, the familiarity factor I think is big, and I think people that aren't familiar with this circuit but are familiar with the Ontario racing circuit, they're going to gravitate to the names that they recognize, and this is a almost a household name in the harness racing industry, and he's come a long way in a couple of years to attain that status. Is he in with a shot? Absolutely. I mean, he's won 3 in a row in pretty solid fashion. You seem to be a big fan of versatility. This guy's made multiple moves to win in all 3 of those prior starts. He is the sharp horse coming into this race. With that said, I just think he won't offer any value. That's why I didn't use him on my tickets. I went with you with ultimately I went with you with the 5-horse Asayana de Charica. Although I really do like the 8, and I'm going to use, I think, both of them equally when calling out numbers. Just the post advantage, I think, just pushes me in his direction a little bit more. And as long as he's not overbet, which I don't think will be the case, I'll stick with him. I'll go with him. And then I'll use an inside horse, Godiva Lovely Lady, because he's going to be close up throughout. I think he can step over the rail horse, Lotusina, who's seems to have enough speed to protect position, but I think he's going to get overpowered going into the first turn. And Godiva Lovely Lady could sit close up, and she could get into the ticket too. So, you know what? There's a lot of different ways to look at this. I'm in agreement with you, which is not necessarily a good thing, but we will see what happens.
Oh, well, maybe we'll both be right. It happens every once in a while, once a year, twice a year. 12 races on the card. It starts at 1 o'clock local time. We'll have free PPs up on the DRF website, on the harness version of the website, and should be plenty of strong action here with 8 Cup finals on the line, and a lot of these horses going for, looking to double their bankrolls in some cases, and that usually leads to some exciting racing, and we'll certainly be tuning in.
Like I said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because these guys, these horses are going for way more money than they're accustomed to. So you're going to see some action, a lot of action, a lot of movement. I think it should be fun.
Well, it should be great racing, and we'll be tuning in. Hope you will be too. Good luck.